Hello, everyone. Welcome in. I hope you are all well. Today on the live stream, I'm actually really excited. And as soon as you join, let me know. So, a few things. I was doing a poll and wanting to check in with subscribers to find out what they wanted to focus on during these live sessions. And it's still really in the works. So I would encourage you, if you're new to my channel, first of all, thank you for being here. And again, my name is Carey, and I am delighted that you've stopped by my little part of YouTube. I like to do readings every single Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And sometimes the format is different. It just depends. But I do like to poll my subscribers to see some of the topics they would like to be able to talk about or have me focus on and the types of readings they want. And if you're joining, please feel free to say hello in the comments. This is a little bit of a different format and a setup for me. Often I show my face and I love that. And I've been also feeling like I want to try this format as well for some of my live streams. Natalie, I know that's what I'm kind of thinking. I am all about serving all of you and the energy. And I wanted to feel like on Fridays, you can pull up a chair. Hello, I have to, Sinister Days. I've got your tarot cards all packaged up and I've got them, getting them sent out just to let you know. We had a few things with our post office. So don't worry, it's going to be coming. And I appreciate you being here. But I wanted to let you all know sort of the setup for me, as Natalie was saying, is it feels kind of zen and relaxing. And although I love, being able to see my face and things like that, in a lot of the sessions, I'm feeling like I want to be able to come and connect energetically. And so you guys can sit with me during this time, just relax yourself. You can just listen to me. And that way you don't have to feel like it's necessarily like a show you're watching. You're just receiving. So this is the routine. We're going to try it out. I'm kind of excited about it, actually. I'll still always do, videos that will have my face in it too. But for me, this really felt right. And I think Spirit knew. Spirit always knows. So here is what we're going to be doing today, which I'm actually really excited about. And as I was mentioning to all of you before, feel free to really engage in the subscriber chat, because that's where I can find out what kind of readings you guys want me to be doing on the channel. Hello, happy Friday. Welcome in. Hello, welcome. I'm starting in this format. As you guys can see, this is the space where I work. And so I thought it would be really fun to be able to have this type of a live stream. And I think it's very relaxing. I love it. And I filmed this way today and then yesterday, and I thought I'm going to stick with it, for this setting. But today I've got kind of a surprise. I was sort of checking in with Spirit and saying, okay, what are we going to do? What's the format for today? And so actually someone had asked me Wednesday, when I had the live stream with Alyssa from LaRussa Mystic, and someone had said, oh, are you going to do the Zodiac readings? And I'm kind of always felt like I'm not sure is that what everybody wants. So what I've decided to do is for this session, and we'll just see how it goes. Again, everything is still getting established and formed, right? We're figuring it out. So I'm going to be going actually through the signs today and doing a channeled messages. Hello, good to see you. Thank you for being here, Kennedy. Oh, it's so good to see you guys. Hello, Elizabeth. Hello, everyone. So here's what's going to happen. I'm just going to get my little incense going. I got my little copal, kind of clearing the energy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a channeled message from the goddesses, and I don't know which one is coming through. So we'll talk about that. And then we're going to go through every single sign. And listen, I want you to think about this. If you look at your own astrological chart, often some of the different placements you have will be prominent in your experience. For example, your Venus might be really active and being animated because it's a part of your personality. We are not a flat sun. We are multidimensional. Also, another really good point is to look at your north node. As an example, my north node is in Cancer. I would have never guessed. I had no idea until I got further in my studies of astrology that was a thing. Also, midhaven. So I want you to just maybe have fun with me, get out your astrology chart, see what you've got in what placement, and see if these aspects of yourself might be coming into play during this week. Now, this is really a timeless reading, although I've placed it going from this Friday till next Friday, just for the simplicity of messaging and making it clear for people. But that's what we're going to get started. I'm really, really excited. However, first we're going to bring through, I'm going to just open my water. First, we're going to be checking in with the goddesses. Now, this is really interesting because most of you know that I work with several goddesses. And then in the Goddess Rising membership, which we have a new goddess every month. So I'm getting to know a lot of them. However, one of them stepped forward just a minute ago who I haven't connected with, who is a Norse goddess. And I want to say, I think possibly we may be working with her at the end of the year, but I don't know. I'm feeling into it. And this is going to actually get me to reach for one of my books. So hold on, because I want to respect the process. And I also may need to get one other deck. I have several goddess decks, as most of you guys who know me long enough know that the decks are plentiful in my experience. And so we'll see. I think this is going to be exciting. I'm very excited. Yeah, this is definitely a Norse goddess coming forth. I can feel her energy. And I'm going to see, because I think she may or may not be in that deck. So let me go look in this deck here, which I have. I'm excited about this. I can feel I'm pretty well organized, but let me make sure. I think this is one of my, let's see where they are. Which layer? Okay. It's funny when they give me these messages, they like to surprise us, I believe, which is a nice thing for all of us. It is for a reason. It all makes sense in the end. All right, let's see what we have, friends. Yes, some of these Norse goddesses are very assertive, which I like. I like assertive spirits. All right, so I have a smaller version. It's right here, so we'll pull on that. Very interesting. Okay, let's see who's coming. Oh, here it is. No wonder I couldn't find it. It was underneath in here. So we've got a couple of these books, and here is the other guidebook for the goddess. Okay, let me see. Now, you guys are going to you guys know the educator in me always likes to do a little bit of that, right? Channeled message from the goddess. You know me and my slideshows. Okay, we can now move into releasing our copal. Thank you very much. All right. And you guys know, as always, feel free to comment, ask questions, whatever you need. All right. There we go. All right. So let's see who's coming forth. So I feel as though I want to first see if she's in here. It's Scaldi. And I think she may be in here. Her name starts, yeah, that's her. It's Scaldi. Let me see if this is, I'm just going to go through here. Ah, gosh, it's her. Here she is. Okay, goodness sakes. I'm getting the chills. Okay, here we go. This is, here's the thing. If you are a dedicated channel, anybody can do this if they're interested. And you learn to open your energy to spirits in a way where you're serving and you are coming forth in a way that is, obviously you're educating and you're helping demystify and helping people connect with these incredible spirits, then it's pretty amazing how they end up working with you, which is to me just so impressive. So let's talk about Scotty. So we have, as you know, these goddesses really are here stepping forward during this time in history because there's the rise of the divine feminine, which is not it has nothing to do with gender. It has to do with balancing out the planet and the energies of the planet. It has to do with releasing the patriarchy and the negativity and the destruction that's been as a result of the patriarchy. And it's a reemergence with the divine feminine and all her beautiful aspects. And often these goddesses are really helping us step into our power and into our own soul ancestry. So, as an invitation, I open to them and I say, if you are coming forth, I feel like they all work together. Please let me know. And we'd love to connect. So, you know me, I have to do a little education. So, here we go with Scotty, actually, Skadi. And I'll show you her card here. I have found that the Norse goddesses are just which makes sense because of their, if you think about living in that part of having connecting with people who are from that part of the world and the extreme weather and the hardships that people went through, you'd have to have goddesses that are pretty hardy and assertive and very not as much, ready to assert themselves strongly. So it does make sense. So let me go ahead and bring forth Scotty's folk. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me just show you this gorgeous picture that we have of her. So it's going to be, I'm going to have to put it up probably as a picture. It's not coming up as well as I'd like. That's the only bummer about using the better camera. Yeah, so her energy's here. She's fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy. Let's see if I can kind of put it a little bit here. Yeah, there you can kind of see her a little better. Scotty. Gorgeous. Okay, here we go. Let's see what she has to say. I don't think she's in this particular one, which is the Goddess Power one. That one specifically. Okay, here we go. Scotty is a goddess from Norse mythology. She is attested in the Poetic and Prose Edda and in various skaldic works. As a goddess of bow hunting and winter, she's associated with skiing, mountains, and death by injury. Okay. So the meaning of Scotty's name is unclear. Her name is possibly related to the Old Norse noun skadi, or meaning harm. Some scholars connect it to the original name of Scandinavia, thus rendering it Scotty's Island. Others disagree and link it to the Old High German Skado, which means shadow, thereby proposing a connection between Scotty and the underworld. Her major attribute is woof, a common symbol she shares with other Norse giantess of the underworld. In the binding of Loki, Scotty placed the serpent that drips venom above him. Hey. This links her to another animal that is symbolic of the underworld. She's also the goddess of marriage, actually, and originally born a frost giantess. She loves her father due to his involvement in the... Okay, she loses her father due to his involvement in the induction of Idun. All right, we'll continue as we did before, that there's so much information here, so it's beautifully mentioned about her. So why is she showing up for us? And this is what I feel like we're getting, as we often get when we connect. Hello, Christy. Welcome, welcome. Yes, I'm here every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's a thing. Put it in your calendar. All right, so here we go, friends. So why is she stepping forward for us in this collective and in general right now? Why is she standing tall with us? And that's what she's saying to me. I'm standing tall. She is a resolute goddess who clearly communicates what she wants. After her father's death, she openly confronts the Aesir, demanding compensation. In the marriage tenured, she does not shy away from asserting her needs. She knows how to make her expectations clear and how to set boundaries. Setting boundaries means establishing a basic set of guidelines for healthy interactions with other people. They designate what behaviors you deem acceptable or inadequate and how you are going to respond when someone crosses the line. Boundaries can look different depending on various factors such as the social situation, past experiences, or cultural background. Here we go. How do you define your personal boundaries? Do your boundaries feel balanced or do they need adjustment? Are they too open or too rigid? Scotty challenges you to reflect on your sense of agency over your physical and mental space, your body, your feelings. If you find yourself frustrated or stressed after agreeing to something or being frequently disappointed by people and endlessly ruminating about past situations in your head, it may be time to define your boundaries and act on them, establishing what is important to you and pay close attention to your emotions and reactions. Setting healthy boundaries can be hard, and maintaining them can be even more challenging. Scotty can be a supportive partner in your endeavors. Call on her to lend you some of her assertive and a confident energy. Remember that no is a complete sentence. I love that. Oh my God. No is a complete sentence. Trust in the process, be gentle and patient with yourself, and stay consistent in your efforts. Okay. So now here are the things she's connected with. And then I'm going to give you some journal prompts. So here we go. She is connected with a wolf. Obviously, that's her major symbol in general with all of the giantess of Norse mythology. She's also associated with winter. And this is similar to her and to Artemis, is that she's associated with being an archer, a bow and arrow. Now, here are the different prompts she's bringing forth. And the thing I'm feeling from her energetically is speak up, listen, speak up and be listened to. She is just definitely assertive. Here are the prompts. What kinds of different boundaries do you know? How do you define these boundaries in your life? Where do you need to set boundaries for yourself? And how can you maintain your personal boundaries? How can you detect and respect the boundaries of others? Wow. So it's all about inner strength and it's all about boundaries. That's really why I feel she's coming forward. And I mean, she was even a little pushy with me, just now by saying, I'm here. I'm making myself known. I do really appreciate that, actually. And when the goddesses are straightforward, and because it's like as that for any of us who have been people that have let people walk all over us, or we haven't been as assertive, we can all learn something from that. Okay, so let me kind of explain to you all how this is going to go. I'm so excited. So this is something that I haven't done with many of you. So that's our message from the goddess. Let's get her up there. Okay, so that's our message from the goddess. So what we're going to do now is we're going to step right into doing all of the zodiac signs. So these will all be later time stamped. If you're not able to stay up for the extended version here, don't worry. If you need to pop out, come back, and you can kind of tell. And you know how you're going to know? You're going to know because take a look. We're starting with Aries. Okay. I'm going to go in the bigger form for a second. So we're going to start with Aries. I am going to, this is really different though. Instead of just going over and saying specific things that are specific categories, we are going to let spirit decide. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. So essentially, I have this deck. Okay. This deck is called Spread Crafter's Oracle. I'm so sorry it's blurry. It's just the way these cameras work. So this deck in general, I highly, highly recommend this deck. You can get it on Etsy. Again, I apologize for it not being very clear. It's called Spread Crafter's Oracle. And I'll put it in the link here in the show notes. But really what it's for, it gives you so it goes has different card categories. And so it has you pull a card for a variety of different things. It's very uncommon. Things like shadow work, transcendence. Let's see, joy, peace, fun. So it says, how are you? So, for example, we're going to pick cards on these topics, and it'll say challenge. What's a hurdle or a problem or an opposition or a daunting task, something outside of your comfort zone that is causing you stress? See what I'm saying? Or we'll pull a card and it will say align. And then we'll be reading, obviously, tarot and messages with this. To connect deeply, to return to proper course, to live in your truth. So it has all these really different cool prompts, and then it will connect in with our reading. So I think it's going to be fun, a little out of the box. I tend to like to do things that wherever spirit guides me, and for me, that's a lot of fun. So we're going to start with Aries, everybody. So listen, if you have a placement in Aries, this could be your sun, your moon, your rising, or Venus. This could be for you. Again, these will all be time stamped. I will also tell you if you have your North Node in Aries or even your Mars, this could also be for you. And sometimes people just relate more to certain signs. Okay, so let's get started. I'm really excited and just see. First of all, I'm going to tune in and do an intuitive message and just see what I'm getting. Okay, so for this coming week, Aries, what do you need to know? Okay, Spirit, let me just connect with the divine and see what we're getting. Excuse me. Wrong pipe. Okay. That is so funny. So I picked up on this energy in the last reading I did, which was this astral travel for Aries. Okay, so let's talk about what that means. So this week, Aries, I feel like you're going to be doing a lot of work in the spirit world. So that means that in your dream time, also maybe when you're meditating, or if you do any conscious astral travel, there's a lot of potential for growth here for you. That's what I'm seeing. It feels to me like there is a need to sort of move outside of your daily life. And part of this is that you get a different perspective so that you gather information and you begin to channel and bring forth more of your higher self. So this is something that will, and I feel like probably because we're in your season, now you're going to need a little bit of a break from energetically from being so highly engaged when it comes to your own energy. Your energy needs a little bit of a respite. You do need to get some balance, is what I'm hearing. So that's the message here for you. Just the automatic thing has to do with astral travel. I'm going to move now into just seeing what these cards are. So this is how it's going to go. We're going to be, for Aries, pulling these cards, and it's going to connect in with the prompt card, and I'll explain it. It's just a way of challenging ourselves when it comes to bringing forth evidence and messages from spirit, and makes us think outside of the box a little, but also it has us looking at things differently. Okay. Because this could be connected to relationships. This could be connected to self-love. This could be connected to career. This could be connected to, I just heard the word monetization. That's hilarious. Money and finance. This could have to do with something you're experiencing. Okay. Let's just take a look. Aries. All right, what do we have here? Wow. Let's start with the first one. The first card I'm getting here, which is going to be hard for you to see, is the card of repression. And it says, what is being pushed down, Aries? What are you refusing to feel, to experience, and to process right now? what are you resisting to acknowledge? Again, this is just what I'm seeing in this moment. I got the Lovers card, and I want to explain what that is. So it might be obvious to many that this does have to do, yes, with relationships. So this could be Aries for you if you're feeling like you're sitting on your feelings, you're swallowing your feelings in general, if you're holding things back, if you're not being honest. But also if you are needing to process something which has to do with your feelings, but you can't quite let it go. So you're not moving on. It says, what are you resisting to acknowledge? Okay. And what are we resisting to acknowledge would be things that are connected to, and this could even be a relationship that's a non-romantic relationship, but what are you not integrating? That's one thing I'm really noticing. The one interesting thing about the Lovers card, which we don't always see, is that the masculine is looking to the feminine and the feminine is looking to spirit. So if we look at that within ourselves and we think about it in these terms, that the masculine is the logical part of you, it's the part of you that's a doer, it's the part of you that is action oriented. Okay. So one of the things I'm getting from this particular card when it comes to what are you repressing, and I'm looking at that masculine, I'm thinking, are we not looking at our own feelings about a situation? Are we holding things in? Are we not listening to the divine feminine within, which means our intuition? Also, our ability to receive. The other thing I'm really noticing with this is it has a lot to do with overworking. So, Aries, if you're hearing this, if you're feeling like you're pushing a little too hard, this could be your chance to kick back a little more and to deal with the feelings that you have that make you push so hard in the first place. It's definitely something we need to think about when it comes to that in general. So that's for Aries. And the card that came up was, what are you possibly pushing down? What are you repressing? Next, we have the card of courage. Again, hard to see, but it says, what makes you invincible, unstoppable, indomitable? How can you conquer your fears? What do you need to cultivate courage? And what is the act of bravery needed right now? And the card that came up actually was quite interesting. It's the Three of Cups. Okay. So, what makes you invincible, unstoppable, Aries, for this week, right now, in this moment? What I'm getting is that your ability to be able to connect with others, your ability to work as a team, your ability at cultivating community, your ability of going out of your comfort zone in order to make other people feel welcome and safe and protected, I'm hearing. So you definitely have, I'm hearing that, ram nature, which is that you stick up for the underdog and that you are protective over those you care about. And there's also something here for me with you about taking risks. So I think you're very good at taking risks, and that could be coming up for you this week as we're moving into the later part of April or second half of April. Something to consider. All right. The next card we're going to be looking at, Aries. Again, this may not be your traditional way of doing the astrology readings here, but I like it. I think it's good to look at these things in different ways. Also, if this is an aspect of you that is connected if it's part of it's either your sun, your moon, your rising, but it also might be your Venus or your Mars, your North Node. Now, here we go. This is what we're getting for this point: honor, to respect, to treat with esteem, to make seen, to commit, to align with integrity, to say yes to your desires and needs, and to affirm your no's. Well, I think you're doing this very well, Aries. And the reason I said that is because you have the Chariot card. So these two things go very well together. It seems like you do have, I'm feeling with a lot of you sticking your chest out and being able to have a lot of pride and a lot of inspiration and a lot of nobility about how you hold yourself and believe in what you're doing. So there is a real sense here of protection of your way of knowing what's right and what's wrong. And you're not a person who always seems to evaluate this, is what I'm getting. And that's what I'm getting for this coming week. So you're not going back and double, second guessing yourself when it comes to the actions you take. But you do want to be mindful, because we want to look to see, we're going back to the repression card to see if there's anything that we're pushing down, to make sure you balance this out in a way that where you're showing yourself to be a strong and honorable person, but at the same time, you want to not push over those that are a little more sensitive. Okay, Aries, here's the last look at your coming week and what we need to think about. We have the card called projection, and it says, how have your internal problems and emotions been projected onto something or someone outside of yourself? In what ways have you been misinterpreting your reality? What is mirrored back to you? That is interesting, because we're getting the 10 of Cups with that. So if you think about that, what could that be for you in this moment? How have your internal problems and emotions been projected onto something or someone outside of you? I just got this image, Aries, that if you have a part of you that likes to think everything's okay within your family, and likes everyone to sort of, because you're putting a lot of energy towards the commitments you have in your relationships, this feels like it could be family or people that you're in close ties with. But you have to understand that you might be someone, I'm getting, that can process things quickly and move on. But if you are connecting with someone who may be a little bit more of a water sign, possibly someone who's more sensitive, someone who's a little bit more introverted or analytical, that's when your vision of, well, everything's great, may not really apply. And that's because everyone processes things differently. Yes, I know you know that. But that's something you want to be mindful of, because you have so much power and vigor and stamina and energy and will. And that makes sense because you're the beginning of the zodiac. So you are starting your energy out into the world and you're the instigator. However, many people, especially your neighbor of Pisces, may be processing things very differently than you. So these are the things you just want to think about as you're moving into next week. All right. Thank you so much, Aries. Let us move on to our friend Taurus. Okay. So anyone here have a Taurus placement that is prominent? This is going to be your message for this week. Let's see what we have. All right, I'm going to do a little shuffling. I hope you're all enjoying this. I think it's an interesting take. I have my Mars is in Aries. So sometimes I can be and have been, willful and a little pushy, to be honest. Your moon's there. Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay, good. See, it's interesting. You say your moon, his moon is in Aries, and my Mars is in Aries. And I think that it's a very powerful energy to get things done and to be motivated and to, in a sense, be determined. But at the same time, it can also, bowl people over a little bit. So we're always tempering it, right? We're always tempering it. Okay, friends. So let's go ahead and pull now for Taurus. Just going to go a little bit bigger with this slide. There we go. Taurus. Actually, let's go. There we go. There we go. Okay, so Taurus. What are we doing, Taurus? We're going to pick 4 cards again. What do we need to know for you this week coming up, Taurus? Taurus. I'm hearing slippery slope. Slippery slope for Taurus. Let's see what that's developing into. So one thing I'm getting, Taurus, as I'm tapping in, just channeling a message here for you. It seems to me like you might find yourself in a situation, which could be at work or in some type of a committee, where somebody possibly has convinced you of, or wanted you to agree to something. And at first thought, you didn't think it was that much of an investment of your time or your energy. But after you've gotten into it a little bit more this week, it's going to seem like too much for you. That's what I mean. Aries rising Taurus moon. So this will be really applicable to you too. Okay, Carey. So the insight here is to take your time when making commitments, Taurus, and give yourself the space you need in order to digest whether or not you want to do something. That's what I'm really getting. So think about that for this coming week. Like there's someone, I feel like it's a committee or it's someone possibly at work, even a friend who's kind of trying to talk you into something. To think, hey, it's not that much time. We can do it. You know what I mean? Okay, here we go. All right, so what do we have? We have a lot of earth energy coming, and I wonder why, because we're in Taurus. Literally, we got 3 of the cards are in Pentacles. Welcome. Okay, friends, let's flip these over. I hope you're all enjoying this. I think it's kind of fun, different, out of the box. I like it. Okay, so here we go, Taurus. This is for this week coming up. The card of purpose. Okay, this card says, what is your North Star? Your calling. What drives you and inspires you? What do you allow to guide your actions? What gives the meaning? Wow. And that's yummy. The first thing we're getting is a perfect card for you, which is 3 of Pentacles. So this is what drives your purpose, is what I'm hearing. This is you, feeling, enjoying being, I'm hearing being selective, but you enjoy working with other people, especially people you feel comfortable with, and building something together over time. For you, Taurus, this week, it's not about rushing. It's about inspecting and discussing and analyzing and making plans. And that's why I feel like what's coming up this week too is paying attention if someone's trying to talk you into something, wink, wink, and you feel as though it sounds good initially, but then upon inspection, you realize, oh, that's a big commitment. So something to think about, because this does drive you, it motivates you, and it inspires you. So, but at the same time, what I always love about the 3 of Pentacles is that you're building a structure together with other people and the people you care about and that causes you care about and what's important to you. So this is definitely what drives you. Next, we have guide, to teach, to educate, to coach, and to enlighten. Okay, Taurus, what do we have? We have the Knight of Pentacles. So for me, I'm hearing steady on your feet. So this is you right now, of course, going through this week. Again, I think people really see you as being stable, reliable, someone who can do quite a bit. And also someone you can really, count on when you need help. And I think this is an important quality, obviously, in a person. But again, because it's your value and it's something you care about, people can also take advantage of that. Maybe it's unknowing, but I do get a sense that it would be something that later you would have a level of frustration about. So make sure you're investigating that, because that is one of your abilities and skill set. Okay, Taurus. Next, we have practice. This is to put into action, to apply a concept in a practical way, to hone a skill, to develop a habit or an exercise. This is interesting. You know what really came out to me is exercise. So this week. I feel like this is Spirit's way of saying, are you still in the decision phase about how you are going to put movement into your life? So if you've been saying, well, I thought about doing, let's say, for example, tennis, but no, maybe I'm going to do pickleball, but no, then maybe I'm going to start running. Or no, maybe I'm going to do yoga. No, So don't wait too long, Taurus, when it comes to self-care through physical action. I know I have had a sister who was Taurus, and she was very physical, but she also could be, take her time doing certain things and making decisions about it. So think about this. And it's saying, find the thing that you do enjoy. If you're starting to get out there and work out again outside, do it with a friend, or really suit up and get nice and cozy. If you feel like it's too cold or I'm not ready, start small. All right, so here's the final card for you, Taurus, for this coming week. We're getting integration, to combine, to make whole, to dissolve the tension, and to include. Well, this is you and the King of Wands. So this is a suggestion. The King of Wands energy doesn't have to be a person, but it's an element of your astrology. You will have more than likely a planet that does have fire in it, which is going to be something that's going to be important to help motivate you, to help inspire creativity and get you in a place of motion. So when it comes to moving forward, and also from self-care, because it's talking about dissolving tension, you want to make sure that you're doing something that does inspire you, that you can do for a long time, meaning not necessarily a long length of time in the session, but that you can stay motivated to do it for a very long time. As an example, many of us like walking. And if you make a commitment to walk every Tuesday with a friend, that's something you can sustain. So you want to find the part of you, Taurus, that feels like it can do something for a long period of time and is motivated and inspired. All right, Taurus, that's your week ahead. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, I do know one Gemini here in this group. I know one Gemini. I'm so glad, Natalie. That's amazing. All right, I know one Gemini in this group. Okay, so let's just see what we have. Let's just see what we have, you guys, for our Geminis, for our twins. What do our twins need to know this week? I'm hearing right away when I'm tapping into the energy here, Gemini, about you going into the masculine part of your twinship. So that is going to look like you leaning into the action, not being too much in your passive, your head. So if you're making plans, keep them or change them, but do them. If you're needing to communicate to somebody, open up, maybe write it out first. And if you're feeling split and divided about something in particular, write it out to put it into action. That's what I'm getting for you, Gemini, for this week. Okay, let's see what we have. Let's put out our starter cards, our prompt cards, and see what we're getting here. And then we'll pull. Okay, I'm going to move to this deck for Gemini. All right. Let's see. Let me turn this out. Hold on one second, everybody. All right, so let's get these for Gemini, please. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. All right, let's see what we have. Flip him over. Oh, there you go. You're coming into your masculine. Remember, I just said that, Gemini. You have a King of Swords coming out, which is exactly the expression. So that's what I was talking about. I'm glad when they give me the confirmation. Okay. So here we go, Gemini. Amazing. So you have on your card here, the prompt is this: strengthen. What do you need to reinforce this week, to add, to make stronger, to practice and persist? And that's when we got the King of Swords. So that means going into your masculine. As I said, this is the King of Swords, is the masculine version of that air sign. That means you're making clear different plans you have. You are communicating them. You are looking a little further out and making plans, possibly even for the summer, is what I'm getting from this. I'm also seeing you. I'm not sure if this is, let's see who this is. I'm hearing register kids for summer camps. Okay. Just see if that makes sense. I'm also seeing making plans for the summer. I know you're a Gemini. That's what I was saying. I know we have one Gemini here. So I'm seeing making plans for the summer, being organized. Make sure you're doing that, because it is more about you being prepared so you have what you need for the summer. So there's this need for action this week as we're moving into like the second part of March. Okay. So take that as it were of like, okay, I'm going to plant my feet down. I'm going to listen to what the guides are telling me. I'm going to take my higher self's nudge and I'm going to make plans and get going. Okay. I love that. Okay, Gemini. Next, we have the expression card, creative and self-expression, the way you choose to convey consciously or unconsciously an idea, an opinion, or emotion. This is very interesting because what we're getting is too many choices, 7 of Cups. So what it looks like. So one thing I think, and this is because of your duplicitous nature and also being, I always feel like Geminis are some of the most precognitive people I know. They see things ahead of many other people. And I also feel like they have an exceptional way of like getting in your head and knowing what you're thinking and then relaying it to you to simplify things and hurry it up. So that's a great quality, especially if you're talking about being able to create and manifest and do things and work like in a group or a team and things like that. But listen to this. One of the difficult parts is 7 of Cups. We have too many choices. When we have too many choices, we spin our wheels or we try to start and stop a lot of things. And then we end up not feeling as satisfied because possibly we jumped into something or we don't have a decision that needs to the decision we made is not the one that we thought really thoroughly through. So here's the message for this week, my dear and dears. Make sure that you're really planting your feet, you're getting grounded, and before you jump into something, you're making the plans so you know what the plans look like. So you're being a leader, you're stepping into your masculine, but you also want to make sure those plans are made and you're clearly deciding, okay, what's going to be the best thing for us this summer, going forth this next few months. So this is definitely a plan for the summer. That's what I'm getting. So putting your feet into that. All right, next we have self-care. What can you do to nurture your mind, body, and spirit? Your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Well, here's what we're getting. One of the things I think that's triggered right now for you possibly has to maybe do with finances or feeling lack, not feeling like you have enough of something, not feeling like you have enough time, not feeling like you have enough money, not feeling like you have enough energy, not feeling like you have enough bandwidth to do certain things. What I want to challenge you this week to do is I want you to talk instead in the positive and say, what is working well for me right now? What's going well? What's lining up? What am I in alignment with? What am I excited about? And also what feels to me like the most authentic thing that I want to do. And then the thing is, because of the 5 of Pentacles can really feel like a dry desert or a difficult time you're going through, you want to make sure that you're leaning in and really checking in with yourself and saying, what would make me feel extra like special or cared for or luxurious? And that can be taking a hot bath. That can be getting a pedicure. That can be having a really nice meal out. So they're talking about that this week. So try to fit that in, even if it's something small, but it's something large to you. All right, Gemini, here is the last card for your reading for this week. We have Transcend, to rise above, to go beyond, to surpass your limits, to evolve. This is wonderful. Okay. Now here's your challenge, which I love. So here is what we need to rise above and get past, right, for this week. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So I honestly feel like some of you here in the collective might feel like the relationships you have or the commitments you have to friends and family at times feel like a lot of weight on your shoulders. And it feels as though you don't have enough room to do the thing you would like to do. So what Spirit is saying in this in this card, which says to rise above, to go beyond, to surpass limits, to evolve. This is challenging you to possibly spend more time meditating, spending more time in the space of expansion, in the space of plenty, and in the space of being with spirit. And you can do that in meditation. You can do that through a walking meditation. You can do that by, I want to say, setting affirmations, visualization. You can also speak that into reality, right? So this is something fundamentally you want to really think about, to move past, to evolve. We've all got to do those things sometimes when we feel the limitations of our own human mind and energy and programming. That's when it's the best time to go into connection with spirit in the way that you can, so you can then move past the limitations of what your mind is telling you is a reality and change the perspective into expansion. Beautiful reading. All right. So we thank you so much, Gemini. We are now moving on to, Cancer. All right, Cancer, here we are. So if you're just joining us, first of all, welcome. And if you don't know me, my name is Carey. And on this channel, I do channeled readings. I work with Akashic Records, and I also channel guides and goddesses. So it's good of you to be here. I do this every Friday at 3 p.m. And I often I do a poll every week for my subscribers and say, okay, what kinds of readings would you like me to focus on this Friday? And so I definitely keep that in mind. And then I also channel what the messages are that I'm receiving as well. And in this case, in the beginning, because I work with goddesses for spiritual growth, healing, for insight, manifestation, and for working with students to develop their abilities and heal. Today, I was tapping in because I am a medium, and I was connecting, and the Norse goddess Scotty came forward. So she's coming forth showing us about boundaries and strength. So just to let you know, that's where we're at. But now we're moving on to the sign of Cancer. Now, here's how we're doing this in case you're new. I have this special deck, which is called Spread Crafter's Oracle. And I'm so sorry you won't be able to totally see it. But essentially what it does, instead of just doing traditional groups of topics like career, relationship, money, what we're doing is questions which go a little deeper and help us understand ourselves, and also things that maybe we're not being totally honest with ourselves about, not uncommon, and what we can do to bring forth more harmony, manifestation, healing, and insight. So that's a little bit more my style. So that's what we're doing. So I'm going to be pulling 4 cards here from the Spread Crafter's Oracle, and then we are going to be working with the sign of Cancer. Again, this is for next week, from now till next Friday. That's what we're doing. And we are pulling cards for that. And also, if you're coming in just now and joining us, first of all, welcome. And I will let you know that, we are more than our sun sign. We have a complex, nuanced energy. And so this could apply to your rising sign, your ascendant, could apply to your moon, could also apply to your Venus or your Mars, maybe even your North Node. So Gemini reading was fire. Thank you. You're so welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So it could, if any of these apply to you or it just resonates for you, then take it. That's my intention, that spirit gives you the message you need. All right, let's do it. We're just taking these out, and then I'll get started with the reading. Okay, Cancer. Ooh, you got some interesting energy coming up. All right, and then we'll display this and let you know what's happening. I love the energy I'm seeing so far, Cancer. We got some good stuff. All right, so here is our first card. It says, confront, to address your challenges and problems, to stand firm in the face of conflict, to face your fears or enemy. Well, this is perfect because the card you got was just that, facing yourself. You got the card of the Hermit, but also Virgo. So this is a deep, deep introspection and understanding you are not in Cancer rising. Love it. This is for Christy. So here's what I'm getting with this. This is really great because you're definitely not in denial about what's going on. You're really understanding your feelings. You're also putting insight into your own development and knowing at any time what your part is in any situation you have when it comes to interactions. I'm very proud of you, Cancer. So that is what you're getting. You're getting deep introspection. And that's if you're if you're having a hard time doing that, it's suggesting lean into that part of yourself. Go in and look at things objectively and rationally and step back from any drama or difficulty or challenge or any time when you're meant to feel something which you're not comfortable with and you want to retaliate. Just take a step back and say, what's the whole perspective here? And what do I need to know? And you may need to still put up some boundaries and be really clear with people. But because you're doing the searching and the looking, that means in general, you're willing to take the advice you're being given or listen to your intuition. Very good. Okay, Cancer. Next, we're getting the Innovate card, which is to invent, to make changes, to launch, to initiate something new. I already love that. And guess what you got? Sun card. So to me, I feel like this is a really auspicious coming week for you, Cancer, which means that success is on your side. You're on like a tailwind, I'm hearing, which means that doors are going to maybe be flying open in some ways, or the energy looks very good moving forward. And also, if you're thinking about starting something, I'm glad that's making sense. If you're thinking about starting something, whether it be a business or a project or traveling or a change, this would be a good week to do it because the energy looks brilliant. It really does. All right, Cancer. Next, we have the card of separation. So we have, how are you disconnected from love and compassion right now? How have you fallen into judgment or criticism towards yourself or others? In what ways do you see yourself as inferior or superior? And what is causing you to suffer and feel not enough? Well, I will tell you, you've got the Ace of Cups, which is perfect for a Cancer because of the water. So the only thing that I'm getting I'm picking up on, which is like I'm reading between the lines psychically, has a little bit more to do with this. Okay. You're giving to others plentiful, but you're not doing as much for yourself. So you'll notice in this image, this magician, essentially, that's who it is placing the cup in their hands, and the water is streaming back down in a force of infinity over and over. The only thing is, it's not touching her hand. So she's giving of self, and even if it's from spirit, it doesn't as much affect her in this iteration. So think about that for yourself. Are you disconnected from your loving compassion towards yourself? So that's a reflection. Next, and finally, we have self-care again. And we have, what can you do to nurture your mind, body, and spirit this week? Your mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual well-being. Well, I'm getting, if you're able to, travel, expand, do something out of the box. 3 of Wands. The 3 of Wands is also something that's connected to growth. It's enterprising in a sense. And it's definitely connected to, if you've been thinking about planning like a trip somewhere, it would be a good time to either investigate that or plan it. Put the money down. Again, it's interesting because when we were looking at Gemini and we said, Gemini, now's a time for you to make sure you sign your kids up for summer camps. But this has a touch of the similarity in the sense of make sure you're going to be spending time traveling. So that may be you planning for things in the summer. Okay. I love it. Thank you so much for this reading, Cancer. And I hope you have an amazing week. All right, my friends, this is why we keep organized around here. Guess who's coming to dinner? Leo. Leo the lion. All right. So let's just pull our energy in and ask Spirit, what do we need to know about this week for our Leos? So let me just tune in. I'm going to take a sip of water as I'm hearing my guide say, don't forget to drink water. Okay, here we go, Leo. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm getting, Leo. I'm hearing spend money on things you deserve. So it looks like if that's the case for some of you, this week there may be an option for you to invest in something. I'm not going to tell you how to invest, obviously, but meaning in yourself. Also, there might be an opportunity for you to put money down for something that you're going to be doing later. The other thing I'm hearing is I'm hearing the word travel agent. So I'm going to leave that there with you. And just to see, I feel like this is kind of the message coming through. And then I'm hearing leave your worries behind. It's like that song. So that's what I got for you. Very interesting. To put all those pieces of that puzzle together, Leo, I'll have to hear back from some Leos and tell me how your week went. Very interesting energy. Okay, here we go. Leo, what do we need? Beautiful. All right. Okay, Leo. What do you need to know this week, friend? What do you know? I'm hearing I'm supposed to pull 2 cards for this first one. Okay. All right. Will do. Okay, let's see what we have. Must be an impactful message, I guess. All right, let's turn over the cards and see what we have. Okay. Ooh, okay. We have a lot of shadow work coming. That's why you probably need it. The other thing I forgot to tell you guys, each of these have different, you cannot see it, categories. They represent different things, which I'll review with you later. For example, some of these cards are shadow work cards. That's the prompt. Some are focus areas. Some are boundaries. There's like, I think 5 or 6 different categories. I did not mention that. So something to think about. Okay, what do we have? Okay, I can see why. I can see clearly now the rain is gone is what I'm hearing, that song. Okay, this makes a lot of sense why they needed 2 cards. You're going to see in about 2 seconds. Okay, everybody take a breath if you're a Leo. Okay, here we go. So the card that came up for this week is the card of separation. And it says, how are you disconnected from love and compassion right now? How have you fallen into judgment or criticism towards yourself or others? In what ways do you see yourself as inferior or superior? And what is causing you to suffer and feel not enough? And that's where I want to start, is what's causing you to suffer and feel not enough. And I'm going to tell you something. If this hasn't happened, I'm not going to do prediction-based outcome, but it feels to me like we're talking to some part of the collective in Leo that maybe has just gone through a separation or a breakup or a change, a big change in a relationship, even a friendship, because we pulled the 3 of Swords and the 2 of Cups. So there's a couple things to note here. First of all, when you see the 3 of Swords, actually, it doesn't mean present time pain. It actually means pain from the past. And when you see the 2 of Cups, it doesn't necessarily mean a relationship, but it does mean a partnership, and it does mean a connection, but it can also be a connection with yourself, and it can also be shadow work, especially when with the 3 of Swords next to it. We also have, I hear change is coming. That's the one thing I'm hearing. And 2 of Cups for me has always been, Natalie might know this because she's one of my old timers. 2 of Cups for me is the card of your spirit guide, you and your spirit guide. So when we're seeing 3 of Swords with the 2 of Cups, regardless of what is happening right at this moment, Leo, next week, we're going to be probably dealing with some self-esteem issues. Possibly there's an opportunity here for you to clear out some heart chakra space and to maybe look at yourself in a different way. And again, because one of the things that came here with separation is what is causing you to suffer and feel not enough. So that could, something from the past could be coming up to be released, and insight is required. When we have the 3 and we have the 2, we have a 5, and that is change. And it's also conflict. So, and that's why they wanted 2 cards pulled together. So it was a complete cycle. So I'm sending you all the best, and remember to focus on your own healing. Okay, Leo, here's what we have next. The Karma card. What are the reoccurring lessons that you need to work through and break free from? How can you transcend your fate and create your own destiny? Well, this is something I could talk about for a long time. So if you ever want me to make a video on it, you can put it in the community notes. This is a long one. Okay, the nice thing about this for Leo, ready, is because we have the World card here. For me, the World card is completion of karmic cycles. So that is looking like this next week, change has come and you're ending some cycle or even a cycle that might be long overdue, that finally you're ending either you're ending a relationship or you're ending a pattern or you're ending something significant which has been gnawing at you. That's what I'm getting. It feels like it's been just kind of chewing on you, right? And it had buried itself deeper in your heart chakra is what I'm getting. So this is definitely a time, even though these cards are very significant and there's a lot going on in the first part of this week, Leo, I'm not surprised if you're just clearing up old stuff from the past. Remember, that's going to lead you to more insight, clarity, and meaning in your life. So enjoy the journey, and it only gets better. That's what I'm hearing. Now, here's what's interesting. Here we have the connection, relationship, and love card. And guess what we got? Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is like the ultimate self-aware, in touch with her feelings, also very conscientious about connecting with others and her relationships. She's empathetic, but yet is not walked over or on. And she is open and flowing as far as, hearing other people's emotions. The one thing about that in general, though, when it comes to water, the divine feminine water, sometimes we can be one of 2 things. Sometimes if you look at Scorpio's energy, we can go very deep and intense and full and focused. And if it's Cancer, it can be nurturing and stable and hold space, but it can also be stagnant. Or if we have Pisces, then we have mutable and just always open and changing, but not contained. So if we're talking about love and we're talking about water and we're talking about a self-aware queen, we want to make sure, if we're starting a new relationship or we're maintaining one that we already have, to hold your space and to be aware of your feelings and taking care of yourself. Self-awareness. And then finally, Leo, here we go. We have the card of being disengaged. So to disown something that is not aligned with who you are, to disagree, to step away from a toxic influence, to take a break. That's quite good. But you know what's even better? 8 of Cups is walking away. It's taking a break. It's moving past. So I can't wait to talk to a few Leos next week to see if any of this is coming up for some of you or a prominent placement there, because there's definitely something going on for you this week. And it feels like it's connected at its core to relationships, but I feel like it's actually more connected to you and your relationship with yourself. So I hope that makes sense. Thank you so much, Leo, and have a wonderful week. We will see you next week. All right, let's keep moving on to Virgo. Now, how many of you have any placements in Virgo? I know I do. I've got a few. I've got a couple of those there. All right, another sip of water. Okay, friends, here we go. First of all, I'm going to tap into the energy here for Virgo. See what I'm getting. What does Virgo need to know, Spirit? It's accumulating here in me. So the sense I'm getting, there's a accumulation of a couple different words, and these few different words start with the letter R. There's not just one, there's several. So I'm going to give each of them to you, and let's get to that. So I'm hearing there's no reward without risk. And then the other thing I'm hearing is the word rescue, but the word rescue has to do with you rescuing yourself. So risk, reward, and rescue. All right, let's see what we got. Let's go into it. All right. Coming in here, seeing what we're getting. 4. All right. Okay. All right. What do they need to know? What do they need to know? Virgo, Virgo. Okay, one of the first, they're so funny. So I'm going to leave this here because if I hear them say something and I don't say it, then later I'm going to say to myself, oh, I said that. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Okay, whoever's listening, Virgo, make sure to check your shoelaces. I just heard that. Make sure you tie your shoe. I'm hearing that some of you may be out starting to run and you're going to be distracted by your shoelace not being tied, I'm hearing. And that's something that is something that's going to lead to something else. Seems like it's not that big of a deal, but I just want to make mention of that. So if you hear this could be a little nutty, but that's okay. I'm always willing to be nutty. All right, here we go, Virgo. So we have community, society, and environment. What do we need to know? Okay, drained. So we have, so here's what I'm feeling for, because we have Queen of Cups in reverse. So this means to me that you're burning the candle at both ends, that you're not taking care of your own emotional health when it comes to group events and things like that. I think that you enjoy being with friends and connections and socially whatnot, but at the same time, I feel as though there's a little bit of, we're a little burnt out and there is a little bit of like drudgery and there is a need for a bit of a reset and also to, take time and patience to be able to say, not accept every invitation that's coming up this week. So that is a really important thing for you. It's like tie your shoelace. You know what I mean? Tie your shoelace. Okay, here we go. Integrate, to combine, to make whole, to dissolve the tension, and to include. We have the Two of Pentacles here. Very interesting. Now we have integration and the Two of Pentacles. So this truly seems like someone who's, if you look at her, she's taking two parts of something that are compatible. They're the same thing technically, but she's deciding which one comes first. She's molding them. She's making them better. And she is deciphering information when she comes into contact with them. This very much is that integration, which is, again, you're making something whole. And it's helping you, and I know what this is about, to dissolve tension. This is really, to me, a clear sign, Virgo, how much you get out of physical activity, how much stress you relieve, how much better you feel mentally, and how you end up coming home feeling clear, even if you just go out for a walk. You are someone I'm hearing, especially this week, who's going to need a lot of time spent in fresh air. Okay. You could also, I'm seeing for exercise this week, do some laps swimming. Some of you might do that, but it seems important for you. It's a way that you process and synthesize information is by movement. So just making sure that if you're training for something, or if you're, trying to develop, say, your framework or your muscles, or you're doing weight training, just make sure you take your time. Like, don't overdo it. That's what I'm hearing. All right. Next, we have attract. To welcome and become available, to be ready to hold broadcast and intent to, to be ready to hold and broadcast an intention. Wow. Right away, full card coming out. So what I love so much about this is that this has a lot to do with you possibly going on a new journey, doing something new. This could be also to do with relationships. So some of you who are maybe starting to date, some of you who are maybe in the newer stages of discovering who you would like to date. And I'm just getting like a spark, which I really love. So again, the card, attract, to welcome and become available, to be ready and hold intention to broadcast your intention. So it is about getting clear. Okay, Virgo, it's about getting clear, making decisions, and it is about, next moves. Very interesting. I really love that. Okay, and then the next card and the final one for Virgo we have is the Six of Pentacles. And the prompt is victory. What validates you, affirms you, and establishes you? What makes you a winner? How do you become victorious? Well, the interesting thing about this is we're at the number 6. The number 6 usually is connected to victory or winning, but also it's 6 of Pentacles. So you're very good, Virgo, at helping people. You're very good at solving problems. You're very good at diagnostics. You're very good at taking charge and being useful. So that's something where you always are going to end up, like, most people can't outwork you, So just make sure in that, given everything else we have going on here, there would just be a need to sort of, don't rush ahead into things, to take your time and to find the things that also where you get quite a lot out of it too. So there's an equanimity here, which is a balance that I think is important. We don't always see that. Okay. All right. Virgo, thank you so much for being here for your reading. Next, we're moving on to Libra. And again, this is for this week. And if you have a placement, either a rising, a moon, a Mars, a Venus, or even a North node in any of these, feel free to take it for yourself. Okay. All right, Libra, here we go. Libra. All right. Take a sip of water and I'm going to tune into your energy. First, channel a message. See what we're getting. Also, I always like everyone to know if you're interested in getting a private reading, I do have those, and you can always just look. All the links are always posted on how to do that. All right. Let me just tune into Libra. What do you need to know? Libra. Okay, I'm hearing take a leap of faith. I literally see an image like the Fool card of you jumping off the edge of something into something else. So if you've been holding yourself back or trying to figure out when the right time is, they're saying now's your chance. This is a good week for that. Take the risk. Step out. I feel like you're going to get a lot of insight from this as well. So it's going to be something that is going to give you positive effects down the road after you jump in. How exciting. All right, here we go. Libra, what do we need to know? Libra. All right. Let's see what we got for you. All right. We have some light work. We have shadow work. We have light work. And we have shadow work. Well, welcome. Welcome. Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in Libra. Exactly. I have a few planets in Libra myself, my girl. Jupiter, and that's a nice placement. Some of the Saturn in Libra is nice, although sometimes that can be a little perfectionistic, you know, with expecting things to be balanced in a certain way can be a little rough. All right, here we go. But really level-headed when it comes to Jupiter. Okay, here we go. What do we need to know? Spirit. Lovely. This is going to be a big one. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got. What are we working on this week? Okay, Carey. Oh, good. Oh, we have our sign coming out. Okay, I figure I found the chink in the armor. You know, I found the Achilles heel on this one. All right, again, we're working on Libra, and we're doing much more of an in-depth dive. What do we need to know for this week if you're joining us? And well, I think people, if they're on my channel watching me, they're used to this. This is what I do. You wouldn't catch me doing too much of a superficial stuff. So it's just not me. All right, here we go. Too many planets in Scorpio. Okay, here we go. Limiting beliefs. What are the negative assumptions or perceptions that limit and stop you from being the best version of yourself? Woo! I'm going to have to say that again. Okay, what have you been conditioned to believe in? Holy smokes. Let's read that again. That's a mind bender. What are the negative assumptions or perceptions that limit and stop you from being the best version of yourself? What have you been conditioned to believe? You know what is so interesting? Look at the card we got for that. 8 of Wands. Okay, I know exactly what this is, probably because I'm a Libra. I have a lot of these pain points, just to be honest, limiting beliefs. So first of all, the perception is everything should be quick. Everything should be fast. Everything should happen overnight. That's the subconscious thing, right? And you think you should get over things very quickly. You think you should manifest things very quickly. And what Spirit is saying to you this week, really lean in a little bit here and listen to yourself. And understand that things take time, that they don't happen overnight, but small incremental steps of growth means so much. And learning to really embrace the part of you that hurts when things aren't perfect is so much of a greater reward than trying to pressure yourself and to compare yourself to other people. That's a big part of it. I was just wondering, did I do a channeled message for Libra? I don't know if I did. I just realized that. I think I jumped right in. Let me know. I don't think I did. Okay. I don't think I did. All right. But let me go into potential first and then I'll channel it after this. Here we go. What powers and opportunities are waiting to be explored, activated, and manifested? What is the trajectory of expansion? How will you choose to shine and grow? Guess what? Justice card. This is the card of Libra. Okay. So how will you decide and grow? If you're asking me, what I'm picking up from this for Libra has a lot to do with checks and balances, weighing out options, and being thorough and making a choice. So this is not getting stuck in your head or moving too fast through something, Libra. This has to do with taking your time and really being thorough and analyzing different points, whatever it could be. This could be personal. This could be something to do with career. This could be manifestations, places where you're growing and expanding, learning things, right? This is being thorough. Super important. I like that. Okay, next we're looking at triggers. Okay, what is making you feel uncomfortable? What is causing the negative reactions within you or from you? What needs to be resolved? Okay, here it is, Libra. I'm getting bullheaded stubbornness, 4 of Cups, right? So part of it is that there's resistance. Sometimes I'm hearing bullying, and I think some of you, maybe Libra, have had in your lifetime remembrances of people that weren't kind and weren't as supportive and judged you, thought you were much too nice, just to let you know. But the problem with is what it did is it made you get insular and revert and go within. And it does feel like that's part of what's coming up to be flushed out for you, Libra. And the thing I'll say to you is it does really feel like, again, take a breath, spend time just enjoying life. Don't rush ahead so much. There's a perfectionistic nature to Libra that makes it very difficult sometimes for things to work in the way you want them to work. So just something to pay attention to. Okay, here's the last card for Libra. Then we're going to move on to Scorpio. We have affirmation. What is the truth that you need to hear right now? What needs to be validated in you? What will create inspiration and resonance within you? This is so beautiful. Right now, 3 of Pentacles. What this means is that you really are building something and learning to work with others in different ways. You are a collaborator is what I'm hearing. I also feel like what works best for you and what you do well is working in a group. And certainly you can do a lot of independent work. I think that's important. But knowing that you get a lot of energy from connecting with people to a certain degree. So looking at that in this regard of like, you get something out of, you get validated, you get the atta girl, atta boy, you get insight, meaning, and feedback when you work with people. You can still take your time and do your own thing, but there's something about that I just want to recognize. It picks you up. All right, Libra, thank you so much. So excited to be doing this reading for you. And again, we'll see you next week. All right, next we have Scorpio. Love it, Scorpio. All right, let's take another sip of water while I tap into Scorpio's energy. Take a sip of water. Okay, Scorpio. Here we go. Exciting. All right. So let me see what we have for Scorpio coming in. I'm going to first just tap in here energetically, see what kind of information I'm getting from Scorpio and what we need to know. Okay. So the first thing I'm hearing right away is make changes. Some changes are being made. Improvements are happening. And I'm hearing there's no skirting around it. There's something also here about labels. You getting rid of labels, letting them go. Not being so concerned about what people think, which doesn't feel like you are at all. But it's just it's the last bit of you don't care, right? I like it. I also feel like you're going to be maybe in your masculine a little bit more this week. It's good. I like that. taking charge. That's what I'm hearing. All right, let's see what cards we have. Let's see what we have. Right. Okay. All right. Now, let's see what cards go with this. All right. Let's see what we need to know for this week, Scorpio. There we go. It's coming out. Excited to see where you're going, where you're headed. Okay. All right. Oh, that's one that's a blanker. Gotta pull another one. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got for Scorpio. Oh, we have some fun ones in here. Oh, okay, great. And then I'm going to tap into Scorpio's energy and see what we're getting. As I said, just to clarify, there's insight that's coming in for Scorpio. There's something to do with attaining something. And then I'm also hearing along that line, there's something with entertaining. So it feels to me like you're going to be entertaining either people with work or family members or friends. There's people coming into town. That's something I'm sensing here, or people that you're connecting with. I'm also you're getting this insight, a deeper insight about what you want to do. It feels like you have a project planned possibly for later spring. So that's something I'm seeing for Scorpio for this coming week. I'm also hearing something about the word territory. So this would be that could be quite literally you're a salesperson and working on a territory, or you're feeling territorial, which in turn feels as though you're protecting something. I also feel like we're talking about magic. So some people practice magic. I do. So if that's something that's coming up for you or you're considering it, be something to think about or research or do. Okay, so the first card we're getting here for Scorpio is fear. What are you afraid of? What do you perceive to be the worst case scenario? What are you desperately trying to avoid and fight against right now? What is triggering and dysregulating your nervous system? Ooh, that's kind of a good one, isn't it? And then what we're getting is the Knight of Wands. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So the thing that I'm feeling here with this coming week is that if I don't act right now, if I don't push myself, if I don't stay motivated, I'm going to fall down and fail. So that's the underlying fear here for you. And that's why you're burning yourself out, if some of you can take that. I'm also hearing, because again, we're talking about the nervous system. That's one of the points here. Sometimes our nervous system will overproduce and make us feel like we're excited and we're inspired and motivated, but we'll actually be running on fear. So it's something you want to take a look at and notice if that is something within you that seems to come up, and something that maybe you want to take a step back when you're feeling like you have to do something and double check. Maybe use a pendulum or at least muscle test to see if that thing that you're agreeing to doing, which feels like so much fun, is actually the right choice. So that's something that's really important, Scorpio. Okay. Next, we have the Four of Swords, and it's coming underneath support, which is success, support, to help, to aid, to assist, to encourage, to hold space. Well, the beautiful thing is that this is multifaceted. The Four of Swords is really about self-care. It's about taking a step back. It's about taking a mental break, maybe taking a literal retreat, and allowing yourself to reset your energy, allowing yourself to get insight, downloads, and just to be. So if this is you, you're doing that, or you're helping someone else doing that, that is really what's coming up for you this week. Fantastic energy. Next, we have the lead card, which is also a card of success. To be the role model, to set an example, to facilitate, to show the way, to steer towards the right direction. This is lovely because we're getting the Ace of Cups with that. So it really shows that you, Scorpio, are coming from a deep well of being generous with your emotional self. You have a deep understanding of things like struggle, difficulty, challenge. So when people are suffering and you sit with them, I'm feeling like your depth of emotion helps them. You being able to be understanding is incredibly meaningful to a lot of people. And this could be happening this week. So take note of that. That's something I think because a lot of Scorpios have such a deep emotional acumen, like it's one of their specialties. They understand depth and emotion, unless they're completely avoiding it. And that's another story that I don't think that's anyone who's listening to these messages. So, and with that, it's just this wonderful gift that you give people of the gift of authenticity, but the gift of you holding space for people. That's very healing. So that's something that could be happening this week. Now, finally, Scorpio, your final card, we have integration. So to combine to make whole, to dissolve the tension, to include. And again, all these leadership things or processing things we have is the Three of Wands. This is a card of expansion. This is a card of possibly traveling this week. This is a card of new horizons. This is a card of growth, creativity. This usually is a card also probably connected to others doing something, right? So this could be you maybe traveling this week for work, or it could also be you, a little note for you to do things that are related to being outside and trying new things, or even maybe a little bit of travel. I think that might be something that might be really helpful for you. Okay, Scorpio, thank you so much for being here for this reading. Let me know in the comments how you enjoyed it. And we will continue to Sagittarius. All right. Venus and Uranus and Scorpio. We have a lot of things in common. I have a lot of planets in Scorpio too. All right, here we go. Okay. So Sagittarius. My moon is in Sagittarius. That's one of my favorite placements I have in my chart. Here we go, friends. What do our Saggies need? What does Saggy need for, right? What does Sag need? For this week, please, Spirit. Okay, Sagittarius. What do we need for this week? Where are you at? What's up with you, Saggy? Okay, last card, please. What do we have? Where are you at? Okay. All right. Okay, let me tune into Sag's energy and see what we have. I'm hearing the words playful. I'm hearing you've been working too hard and you need to get out and just play out in the sun. Spend time being able to clear your mind. It feels to me like you've been really running ragged, many of you. And it's really a nice time to have this exchange with the outdoors. That's, I think, kind of important for you. I don't think it's something you do as often because you're so busy working, but when you were younger, I'm hearing many of you Sagittarius would do a lot of sports and things and activities. And so you haven't lived in yourself that because you get so dedicated to your work. So make sure you do things for fun that are physical. Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. We're coming right into some big topics. Take a breath, Sagittarius. Here we go. All right. So, right away, Sagittarius, this is validation, I think. As we're moving into this week, what do we need to pay attention to? You know me, we're not superficial around here. So, trauma, healing, deep dive. Well, you're all in already. So, this to me looks like those of you that can take this, those of you that are on your healing journey, and on your awakening journey and on your spiritual path, you're doing the work. Because the Nine of Pentacles is someone who has built a practice or is really dedicated to building a practice where you're looking at things deeply, where you've planted seeds, where things are growing for you, where you have released trauma and even some bondages I'm hearing within you. You've done the energy work. You're doing the energy work, I should say, and you're enjoying the rewards and the benefits. And you're starting to feel it too. So many of you who can relate to this or have that placement in Sagittarius, it really feels to me like this is a little bit of a time of noticing how far you've come. I think that's important to do. And we can't always be in the mode of constantly working at it. Sometimes we need to just enjoy it, is what I'm hearing. Now, this is what's interesting. We're getting the card of Ancestry, Generations, DNA. I feel like are some of you this week, because it's Easter, that's why. Next week's Easter. So this seems to me like we're getting together with family, possibly. So because we have Ancestry, Generations, and DNA, I feel like here's what I'm hearing. Those of you that can take this, if you are with family this coming next week, this may even go more into next week, but make sure you're really, for those family members you have that are much older, make sure that you get the nuggets you need from them, right? Make sure you get the memories, make sure you get the recipes, make sure you get the pictures, make sure you're getting what you know is them, because I feel like we sometimes forget that. Even if we have very healthy elders in our lives, we think, oh, they'll be around another few years. We really don't know that, is what I'm hearing. So making sure that you take the time to get the things you need, right, from your loved ones. All right, that's what I'm hearing. Next, we have support, Sagittarius, to help, to aid, to assist, to encourage, to hold space. Love it. Again. And we have the moon in reverse with this. I think this is really good. The moon in reverse is where you want it to be, because that means that you are uncovering what has been unconscious. You're moving past the illusion of grandeur in a lot of things, or idolizing things outside of you. And I'm hearing you say, that's a miracle. I don't do that anymore, which is kind of funny. And I feel like this has a lot to do with like comparing yourself, things you've done in the past, or judging yourself or your family or your loved ones, and being more understanding of yourself, which is ultimately where we want to be. So we have a sense, of the depth that we have, which is so important. And we understand ourselves so deeply. It's so important. And forgive ourselves. So I do see you doing that coming this week, or in that process. So here's the final card for Sagittarius. We have self-care. What can you do to nurture your mind, body, and spirit, your mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual well-being? And this is where we're getting the strength card, right? So the strength card is a little bit misleading, because the strength card does not mean that you all of a sudden are strong. It means that the choices you make when it comes to how you spend your time, what you do with your energy, how you make moral choices, you keep choosing the right thing over and over again, even if it's hard. So when it comes to self-care, to me, this means, Sagittarius, that you are, or it's probably a good idea for you to lean into that investment in yourself will come through repetition. That's what I'm hearing. Will come through consistency and come through practice. So that really makes a lot of sense when it came to all the things we were seeing about self-care for Sagittarius, right? That's what I have for you, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. All right. We just have 2 more to go, friends. We are now moving into Capricorn. All right, Caps. Have any Caps in the audience? All right. So, Capricorn, what do we need to know? Let's tune into your energy. For Capricorn, also, I'm hearing for you playful, playtime. I want to say this week, I'm not sure if some of you are, I'm getting something with your mouth. So Capricorn, are we getting any dental work done, or are we grinding our teeth? Right? I'm feeling some pressure there. So if you can take that, let me know. Also feel like I have a little bit of something going on in my eye. So if you're having any discomfort with your eyes, that might be an idea. And again, I'm not a doctor, to get things checked or go get your glasses updated. I'm hearing that. Don't strain your eyes. Ooh, I'm hearing that. Okay, here we go. Ooh, yeah. Something going on with the eyes. You can feel it. It's fun to be a medium. All right, here we go. All right, and I'm going to, right? Okay, so I tuned in. Wow. That's a lot in the eyes there, Capricorn. Okay, what do we have? Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see what comes up. Okay, we've got some interesting energy here. Very much like the day-to-day things. No major arcana coming up here for this reading, Capricorn. Interesting. Here we go. So when it comes to the first card that we have here, again, we're just starting our reading for the week coming up for Capricorn, looking at questions specifically that are a little more in-depth, underlying, and things to focus on. Certainly we can span out and include things like relationships, jobs, finances, manifestations, things like that, spirituality. And these tend to go right to the heart of the matter of all those things. So we can create that potential and those opportunities and clear out the blockages that stop us from experiencing what we want. All right, potential. What powers and opportunities are waiting to be explained, activated, and manifested? One of my favorite words. What is the trajectory of expansion? How will you choose to shine and grow? Wow. Well, first of all, we have a competitive card here, right? So we have the 5 of Swords. I'm reading that question and I'm meditating on this again. So part of it, I feel like in Capricorn, there's a competitive nature. And the insight I'm hearing from you, for you, that is the advice here, is that competition is a great thing. It is, nothing's wrong with it. When we want to revisit it is when we feel like we are trying to climb over someone to get to where we want to go. Certainly something that we are no stranger to those things happening to us, in ourselves. So if you find you have someone like that in your environment who isn't as much of a team player, think about how you would like to respond. That's what I'm getting. And your character and your nature. And act on that and know that you're always going to win when you make that really good conscious choice. Okay, let's continue. Innovate. To invent, to make changes, to launch, to initiate something new. Ooh, already I'm interested. All right, what do we have going on this week? Guess what? 8 of Pentacles. So I feel like you're already working on something. The number 8 means you're further along the way, Capricorn, in working on a project. So you are not in the beginning stages of something. I feel like you could be working on something behind the scenes. something that you may not, I think I'm hearing you're closeted about. You're not telling everybody what it is. I'm not mad about that. Do what you got to do is what I'm hearing. Also, if you have an original idea, I think I mentioned this last week to some of the collective. If you have an original idea, make sure to patent it, write it down, or make sure you don't share it with people until you've already established it. I am hearing that. So if you're working on that now, good. If you're not, think about it. All right, let's continue. Next, we have excuse. What excuses are you making to escape and avoid your problems? How have you been refusing to take ownership and responsibility for your reality? Oof. Oof. We all have something like this, right? Here we go. 5 of Wands. Well, that tracks. So for me, the 5 of Wands isn't so much about competition. I don't see it like that. What I see it like is more of a misdirection of your energy, not quite sure where to put your energy. Conflicting with things of, I would say, varying interests, and needing to get grounded, get clear, and say, okay, where do I shine the most and what makes me the happiest? And in different parts of my life. And that's how you move forward from the 5 of Wands to the 6 of Wands when you're going along the Fool's journey, is that you don't keep acting like a rabid dog going all over the place. You calm yourself, you make a decision, what's the best choice, and then you use your intuition. So that's good. I like it. All right, last card, Capricorn. Here we go. We have the compassion card. How can you show empathy, sensitivity, charity, and understanding to yourself and to others? How can you help alleviate suffering? That's beautiful. And here we have leadership, King of Swords, paying attention to the details, communicating and being a representative or someone who speaks up for others is really what I'm getting. And also paying attention to the details and articulating that and being like a representative for some people. This almost feels to me like you're representing them as counsel, or you're representing people in a situation who can't speak as well as you do for yourself. You're helping them. So there's something in here. And that's a way that you give back. It's really what I'm getting. I love this reading, Capricorn. Thank you so much for being here with me. Let me know in the comments how you enjoyed it. Also, I can't wait to see you next week. All right, the last and final one, we have Aquarius. Sorry. Did I do Pisces yet, you guys? Hang on a second. Did I already do Pisces? No, sorry, 2 more. Don't let me slip around. We started with Aries. So we have Aquarius, then we have Pisces. It's always like this at the end. You're like, I can't remember where I started. Hang on a sec. Okay, friends, let's do it. So we have 2 more to go. Home stretch. Home stretch. All right. Let's see what we got. I'm going to tune in here. I'm going to see what our beautiful Aquariuses are up to and what they can pay attention to this week, what they need to know, guidance, information. Here we go. We tune into the energy, please. I'm seeing insight, you getting insight. I feel like some of you are getting downloads. Let's see what it's about. You've been wishing for something. You will know what it is, I'm hearing. And you're hoping that it comes into fruition. It starts to solidify is what I'm hearing. There is part of you that feels as though you've had to mask a little bit in some way and cover up how you feel about some things. And that doesn't suit you well because you're an authentic person. But it feels like this could be related to a family matter or work. And so you've had to sort of put on a cheerful face just to kind of get by is what I'm hearing. Okay. All right. So insight and guidance. Let's see what we're getting here. All right. Just push this down a little. There we go. Okay. One sec, guys. I gotta blow this one out. Sometimes some of these candles are so beautiful, but the little tea lights, I've got to get some of those votives that are a little higher for some of these candles. They're so beautiful. These little holders, I love them, but the tea lights go out like within a half an hour. And I'm here for a couple hours, so not to mention I always light candles when I do private readings. So I'm a candle girl. All right, let's see what we got. What does our Aquarius need to know this week? All right. Okay. I'm hearing achieve too. There's something you're working on achieving. I sort of said this a moment ago, but it feels like you're branching out, working on something. Okay. Okay, we already have a lot of major arcana coming out. So major themes, finances, money, abundance. Interesting. Okay, let's see what we got. All right. As I mentioned to you, I really feel like you, Aquarius, are working on something like a project or something you're working on creating, manifesting, growing. Something there's an industry here. You're working on making something. It just feels like that. Because then also we're getting career, work, business, and we have the moon in reverse. I'm seeing this moon in reverse is actually good because you're understanding the realities of what is required to get this thing off the ground. That's what I'm hearing, or sustain it. So whatever it is that you're working on when it comes to this project, you're understanding that what it really will take. That's taking you a minute to kind of take a breath and go, okay, this may not be easy, but I'm going to dig in there and I'm going to get it done. So there's a lot of strength that's coming from. So speaking of strength, we're now moving into the card that says confront, to address your challenges and problems, to stand firm in the face of conflict, and to face your fears or enemy. And here we go. We're getting the strength card again. So I just feel like, again, we're looking at something where there is probably competition, or you're looking at a strategy for work or the thing you're creating, and they're just getting a lot of incentive and ideas that are helping you to, it feels like just in general, align with what the guidance you're getting is. The guidance also comes from higher self, intuition, your spirit guides, but also from talking to people that you trust about things. So let me know in the comments if this makes sense. Even if you watch this on the replay, I'd be interested to know if this fits. Next thing we have is finances, money, abundance. I think this is all part of it, right? It's like you're trying to expand your wealth. We love that for you. You're trying to make more money, achieve more. You're shifting what you need to do to shift that. Also, this is really good because this shows something nice coming in, Knight of Cups this week. So you could be getting some really good advice from someone. You could be getting an offer, a promotion. This could be you being able to earn more. There's just potential here. There's something that's stirring. That's really what I'm getting. We're also getting the final card is karma, past life cycles. This is one of my specialties. So you're working through things. And you know what we have here, which makes me think again about the entrepreneur. We have this amazing King of Wands, who is the king of being an entrepreneur. This is an energy of manifestation, of success, of savvy, of leadership, of insight, of also like practicality, because they know how to get things done. They have a lot of experience when it comes to businesses and how to manifest. So you're in a really good space, Aquarius. I can't wait to hear what some of you are doing and if this resonates, because also it can be in other areas, but the energy is there, right? Thank you so much. Okay. Next, we have Pisces. This is our last sign of the night. I want to thank you all so much for being here. I certainly hope, and I already know most of you are here, are subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. And also make sure you sign up for all notifications, which can be shown on the bell. So when you hit the bell on the page, you can make sure you sign up for that. And I appreciate your support. It means the world to me. And also, if you could be so kind and make sure you're participating in some of the polls I do, things like that. So that way the content I make can really be customized to what all of you are wanting from me in this space. So it makes it fun too. And if you see other videos you'd like me to make, because I'm wanting to maybe do some videos outside, where I can do a walk and talk and answer questions or talk about different things. So I'm kind of looking at that. I've got that. I'm getting that set up and planned. All right, here we go. Now we're looking at our friend Pisces. And what does Pisces need to know right now? I'm hearing you need a refresh. Okay. I'm hearing that many of you are sort of like at the end of a cycle, a little bit burnt out, needing some time off. And I think we're needing to recharge, Pisces. I'm hearing also playfulness. So go out and do something that's fun. Maybe something brand new this week you haven't done. Maybe try a new activity, go to a new place for a walk, things like that. I think that's a good idea for this week. All right, let's pull cards for you, Pisces. Here we go. What do you need to know this week? Okay. All right, what do we need to know? All right. We have potential, community, society, environment, release, balance. All right, here we go. All right, Pisces, here we go. Ready? Okay, so we have potential. This is where we run into some limiting beliefs, and also I can feel some resistance and blockages that you want to look at in your first chakra. So the first chakra is connected to in general things like stability. It can be connected to things like manifesting money. And it can also be beliefs around how things work in the world. So it can be limiting in some ways if you're not working on it and expansive, because you can channel through parents' beliefs, society's beliefs, ancestors' beliefs, programming, fears, right? You don't want that. So here we go. Again, potential. Let's say it again. What powers and opportunities are waiting to be explored, activated, and manifested? So here's what we got. And that's where we need some work. That's where I'm feeling that in my first chakra. The four of Pentacles is a resistant energy. It's a stuck energy. It's a little bit of a brat. It says, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to spend money on that. I'm not going to take time to do that. And it's a little bit of a know-it-all energy. Also, it is definitely something that says, I don't want to move. I don't feel like it, So it lacks openness. And if we're looking at the card of potential, we have resistance and potential. So you want to squarely look at, is there places where I'm not willing to do what it takes to grow and change to get what I want? That's a big one. So that's what I got there. Next, we have community, society, and environment. Now, this is where you go in a good direction because you have opportunities happening this week. You have the 8 of Wands. So that means probably socially, you've got some fun activities going on. There's some connections. There's maybe a little bit of doing things with other people that you work with or friends or things that have coming up. Of course, Easter's at the end of next week, so that could be part of it. But there's just a fun, rapid, quick moving energy here with the 8 of Wands. That means we're having fun. We are exploring, we're expanding, and we are, ready to try new things. So that contradicts a little bit this energy. But again, when we're looking at potential, there's day-to-day life and interesting, being open and having fun. And then there's our dreams. And our dreams is where most of the shadow is going to show up, right? So if you have to clear some stuff out, that's where it's going to be. Okay. Next card. And this is our last sign, by the way. We have release, to let go, to say goodbye, to set free, to leave, to move on and move forward. And this is what I love. This is very clear. We have the Queen of Swords. there's nobody in all of I would say, of all the queens who moves on in a clearer way than the Queen of Swords, because she's clear, she's focused, she's a good communicator, she knows where she's headed, she has a long-term vision, and she's self-aware. So when it comes to moving forward and letting go, if there's a blockage or if there's some resistance or there's shadow work to be done, she's showing up. It's a very good energy to lean into. So you, Pisces, might have a placement in an air sign somewhere significant. You want to lean on that, on those skills. Last card of the night, just a little over 2 hours. I want to thank you all for being here. It has been incredible. I've loved doing these so much. Every Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If there's ever a chance when I'd have to change the time, I will let you know a week ahead of time in case I go away for a weekend or something. But that's why I put it on Fridays and not on the weekend, because I knew Fridays I'm working. So, but I might do it sometimes in the morning if I have an appointment or something in the afternoon. But most of the time it's always going to be at this time. And the topics are going to change. So be sure to participate in the group, in the community chats, the community page. I do polls over there, right? Things of that nature. Okay, next we have balance, okay? To stabilize, to return to the now, to find equilibrium and harmony. Well, Pisces, amazing. Here we have Queen of Pentacles. So this is deep self-awareness. This is a Queen of Pentacles is also very focused, also a bit on the now, not in a hurry. So feet are planted firmly on the ground, really knows what it wants to invest in, what she wants to invest in. So if we're looking at coming up this week, we have a nice energy starting you off with Sunday, Monday. It's just a really nice start to this new cycle. And, there's a lot of insight here about, again, how do we stabilize our energy? How do we stabilize our life? And doing that in a way that's authentic and meaningful, and knowing what you want to actually invest in your life in order to get what you want. There's also a new energy here with the rabbit. Anytime you see the rabbit's like good luck and new beginnings. So there could be some new opportunities coming your way as well. Okay, sweet souls, thank you so much for being here. I can't thank you enough for being supportive, having fun, participating, being here. And I can't wait to engage with you in the chat. Please be sure to sign up for notifications so you can get all my latest, I would say, videos that I do. I upload videos about 3 times a week, including meditations. Thank you so much, Carey. And like I said, the funny thing is about that, the post office thing, and it's a long story, but it's getting sorted out. So I want to thank you all. And next week I will do another, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm so happy you enjoyed it. I get in deep with those readings because I want people to be liberated, empowered, and be able to manifest what they want. And being more conscious is the way to go. All right, friends, I will see you soon. Thank you again for being here. Much love. Make sure you're participating in the polls and in the chat. Love to see you in the community space. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.